Aaron Rodgers a Jet. Lamar Jackson said he's throwing for 6,000 yards. And what rookie is going to have the biggest impact this year? These are three things we want to see for the 2023 season. Let's go. So Aaron Rodgers went from gangrene in Green Bay and gangrene to the New York Jets. What are some things we want to see for this year? We want to see what his new weapons look like. You got Alan Lazard, who's already hurt. Speaking of hurt, you got Aaron Rodgers, who's already hurt. You got a calf strain. Tell me how that go. On the first practice, we all seen his rushing touchdown. We seen the highlights, and he already got a calf injury. So that's just telling us how things are gonna go this year. You got Alan Lazard. We want to see how he works into the offense. We want to see how they use Mecole Hardman. Kansas City didn't really use him as a dual threat. They use him as a gadget guy. But let's see what he can get out of Aaron Rodgers. You got obviously Garrett Wilson. You got Brees Hall. You got Michael Carter. You got a lot of weapons on that team and a really stout defense. So let's see what he can do in the new team. Is there a lot of Super Bowl pressure? You tell me. I think Aaron Rodgers, he went to the team knowing that they have Super Bowl aspirations, knowing that they was pretty much a quarterback away from getting to the big dance. I mean, they started off, I think they started off, like 6-0, 7-0, and then they pretty much went downhill from there. But I do think a quarterback away could really put them in a discussion. Is it a one and done? What is life like out of Green Bay? He doesn't know that. No one knows that. So he's gonna take this year. He's gonna take it for what it's worth, and he's on a LeBron deal where it's a every year thing. This might be his last year. It might be retirement. Who knows? But that's one thing we want to see for this season. What's next? Let's talk about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson said he wants to throw for 6,000 yards. Now let me tell you something. If you throw for 6,000 yards, wherever you take him at, whether it's a second, third, fourth round of fantasy, you're gonna be happy with 6,000 yards. Is he still running after his contract? Lamar Jackson, what people don't understand is he led the league in passing touchdowns one year, his MVP year. So you can't say that he's not a defiant passer. Not is passing his strong suit? Obviously not. Rushing the ball is his strong suit. But I do think that he's still, a very good passer. So let's see how much he's going to develop his skill and feel the need to stay in that pocket after this contract. Is he still going to rush the ball 10 to 15 times a game? Is he still going to, rush for over 1,000 yards? We're going to find out. What about OBJ? Is he going to be a nuisance on the sideline if he's not getting the ball? Or is he going to be, that calm, tame OBJ that we saw in, not St. Louis, but in Los Angeles? What is he going to do with these weapons? That's what I want to know. If he's throwing 6,000 yards, you got OBJ, you got Rashad Bateman, you got Mark Andrews. Let's see what he can get done. Every year, you always got a handful of rookies who make an impact in fantasy football. You got running backs who crack the top 10. You got receivers who crack the top 24. You don't really have tight ends who's going to get into that mix. But you never know. There's a first time for everything. But you got, obviously the quarterback, CJ Stroud. You got Bryce Young. You got Will Levis, who might not even end up playing. You got my pick for Rookie of the Year, Anthony Richardson. You got Bijan Robinson, who definitely is probably, it's crazy. The hype around Bijan Robinson is really just beyond what Saquon was, and I think that's crazy. Saquon was an all-time prospect. They're saying the same thing about Bijan, but Saquon went in top 5, and I think he finished as a top 5 running back his rookie year. Now, can Bijan do that? We'll see. You got guys like Jordan Addison added to the Vikings, Zay Flowers, who's also added to the Baltimore Ravens, who's gonna be a part of that 6,000 yards receiving season from Lamar Jackson. We'll see. Jamar Gibbs in Detroit. You got a lot of guys. You got a lot of guys who not only have that first round draft pick talent. Not all these guys were drafted in the first round, but all these guys are making a looking to make an impact as if they were drafted in the first round. They're drafted and should be inserted into the starting lineup. So which guys is going to make an impact not only for their team, but once again for what's most important, fantasy football. I think that the quarterbacks and the running backs are obviously a top pick. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, these guys are going to start from day one. Bijan Robinson is definitely a top pick just because as far as the running back goes. The running back landscape, anyone can really crack that top 10 as long as they stay healthy. I do think that he's going to get the bulk of the touches in Atlanta. But that's one of the things we want to see for 2023. Comment below something you want to see. Bye.